The words were spoken so casually that, for a moment, I wondered if I had heard them correctly. My mother put down her wine glass, looked across the dinner table at my 12-year-old daughter, and said, "She isn't really part of this family." The room went silent. My daughter, Emily, stopped cutting her birthday cake. She looked at me. "Mom?" I couldn't breathe. My father leaned back in his chair and sighed. "Your mother didn't mean it that way." "Yes, I did," my mother replied. Then she pointed toward Emily. "She has never belonged here." I felt something inside me break. But what my parents didn't know was that I had brought an envelope to that dinner, and inside that envelope was the truth they had spent 12 years trying to hide.
It was supposed to be a celebration. Emily had just turned 12, and I wanted her to have one perfect. Evening with her grandparents. Our relationship with my parents had always been complicated. Had never really accepted Emily. When she was born, my mother barely held her. My father wouldn't even come to the hospital. They said they needed time. I believed. Then. For 12 years, I kept believing. Them. Every Christmas, I brought Emily gifts from them that I had secretly bought myself. Every birthday, I told her, "Grandma and Grandpa love you. They're just not very good at showing it." I was lying, but I was lying because I didn't want my daughter to grow up believing she wasn't loved. That night, I had rented a beautiful private dining room at an upscale restaurant. There were candles on the table. Flowers. A chocolate birthday cake, and Emily wore the blue dress she had picked herself. She looked so happy for the first 30 minutes. Everything was normal.
Then my mother started asking strange questions. "How long are you planning to keep living in that little apartment?" I smiled. "I don't know. We're comfortable there." She laughed. "You've always settled for less." My father looked at Emily. "She's getting older." Emily smiled nervously. "Yes, Grandpa." He didn't smile back. Instead, he asked, "Does she know?" I froze. "Know what?" My father looked at my mother. My mother shook her head. "Not tonight." That was when I knew something was coming. I just didn't know how cruel it would be.
After dinner, the waiter brought Emily's cake. Everyone sang happy birthday. Emily closed her eyes, made a wish, and blew out the candles. She looked at my mother. "Grandma, I wished for us to have more dinners together." My mother's expression didn't change. "You shouldn't wish for things that aren't going to happen." Emily's smile disappeared. I stood up. "Mom, that's enough." My mother looked at me coldly. "No, we've been pretending for too long," my father whispered. "Evelyn." But my mother continued. "Emily isn't our granddaughter." The fork slipped from Emily's hand. It hit the plate with a sharp sound. I immediately walked around the table and knelt beside her. "Don't listen to them." But Emily was already crying. She looked at me. "Mom, what does Grandma mean?" My mother folded her arms. "She means exactly what she said." I stood. "You promised me you would never do this in front of her." My father finally spoke. "We were trying to protect the family." "What family?" He didn't answer. My mother did. "Our family." Then she looked directly at Emily. "You are not part of it." Emily's face went completely pale. I took her hand. "We're leaving." As I reached for my purse, my mother laughed. "Go ahead." Then she added, "You'll come back when you realize you have nothing." I stopped, because She was wrong. I didn't have nothing. I had spent 12 years protecting one secret, and that night, I was finally ready to reveal it.
I took the envelope from my purse. It was thick. Cream colored. Sealed. With red wax. I had carried it everywhere for 3 months. I looked at Emily. Sweetheart, I want you to open this. She stared at me through her tears. What is it? The answer to everything. My father suddenly stood. Don't. That one word changed the entire room. Emily looked at him. Why? He didn't answer. My mother stepped forward. Give me that envelope. I held it tighter. No. You have no idea what you're doing. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. My voice was shaking, but I should have done it 12 years ago. I placed the envelope in Emily's hands. Open it.
Her fingers trembled as she broke the seal. She pulled out several documents. The first was a birth certificate. The second was a letter. The third was a DNA test. Emily looked confused. Then she started reading. Her eyes widened. Mom. She handed me the paper. I didn't need to read it. I already knew. The DNA test confirmed what I had known all along. Emily was my father's biological granddaughter. My mother's biological granddaughter. There had never been any doubt. My father stared at the document. My mother stopped breathing. Emily looked at them. But Grandma said I wasn't family. I turned toward my mother. No. I held up the letter. She knew Emily was family. My father's face changed. What letter? I looked at him. The one your wife wrote to me 12 years ago.
The letter had been written shortly after Emily was born. My mother had demanded that I take a DNA test because she believed Emily's father wasn't who I said he was. I refused. Not because I was afraid. Because I knew the truth. Emily's father had died before she was born. My mother blamed me for his death. She blamed me for everything. So she created a lie. She told relatives that Emily wasn't really my husband's child. She told them I had betrayed the family. And for 12 years, she quietly spread that story, but there was something she didn't know. Before Emily's father died, he had discovered what my mother had been doing. He had written everything down. The accusations, the lies, the financial manipulation, and most importantly, he had left Emily something, an inheritance. My mother had tried to keep it from us. My father had helped her. They believed that if they convinced me that Emily wasn't part of the family, I would stop asking questions about the money. But my husband's attorney had preserved every document. The envelope contained all of it. My mother finally spoke. You don't understand. I looked at her. No, Mom. I understand everything now.
My mother had not rejected Emily because she wasn't family. She rejected Emily because Emily was family, and that meant Emily had rights to the inheritance my parents had controlled for years. The money wasn't millions. It wasn't some fantasy. Fortune. It was something more. Important security, a college fund, a small house that Emily's father had purchased before his death. Everything had been legally placed in Emily's name. My parents had tried to keep control of it until she turned 18. They thought I would never discover the truth. They were wrong. My father looked at me. Evelyn, we made mistakes. Shook my head. You didn't make a mistake. Tonight, he looked confused. You made a choice. I pointed toward Emily, and you made that choice in front of a child.
My mother started crying for the first time in my life. I didn't rush to comfort her. Emily stood beside me. She was still holding the DNA report. She looked at my mother. Do you really hate me? My mother's face collapsed. No. Emily's voice cracked. Then why did you say I wasn't family? My mother had no answer, and that silence told Emily everything. I took my daughter's hand. We're leaving. My father stood. Please. I turned around. Please what? He looked at Emily. I'm her grandfather. I looked at him for a long moment. You had 12 years to act like one.
My father lowered his eyes. Then Emily spoke. Grandpa? He looked up. She held the envelope toward him. You can keep the papers. He stared at her. But I don't want to keep pretending. Then she took my hand, and we walked out.
Outside, the night air was cold. Emily cried in the car, not because she had lost her grandparents, but because she finally understood that she had never been the problem. She whispered, Mom, was there ever something wrong with me? I pulled the car over. I turned toward her. There was never anything wrong with you. She wiped her tears. Then why didn't they love me? I reached across and held her. Sometimes people don't reject you because you're unworthy of love. I paused. Sometimes they reject you because loving you would force them to admit the truth about themselves. She rested her head against my shoulder. And for the first time that night, she smiled.
6 months passed. The trust was transferred. The house was placed legally in Emily's name. My mother sent letters. Father called several times. They wanted forgiveness. Didn't hate them. That surprised me. For years, I thought revenge meant making someone suffer, the way they made you suffer. But I learned something different. Sometimes revenge is simply refusing to let someone else's cruelty define your future.
Emily started therapy. She became more confident. She joined the school theater club. She made new friends. And every once in a while, she asked about her grandparents. I never lied to her. I told her. They made choices that hurt us, but you don't have to carry their choices for the rest of your life. One afternoon, Emily came home from school. Holding a small envelope, she smiled. Mom, I got something for you. I opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. It said, thank you for believing me when everyone else made me question myself. I started crying. Emily hugged me, and suddenly I realized something. That envelope at the restaurant hadn't just exposed my parents. It had saved my daughter from spending her entire life believing their lie. My parents thought they could decide who belonged in our family. They thought money could control the truth. They thought a 12-year-old child could be made to feel unwanted, but they were wrong. Family isn't just about blood. It's about who stands beside you when you're hurting, who protects you when you're vulnerable. Who tells you the truth, even when the truth is painful. And sometimes the people who share your blood will be the ones who hurt you the most. But that doesn't mean you have to become bitter. You can walk away. You can heal. You can build something better. And most importantly, you can teach the next generation that their worth was never determined by the people who failed to recognize it. That night, my mother told my daughter, you are not part of our family. But she was wrong. Emily wasn't just part of our family. She was the reason I finally found the courage to leave the family that had been hurting us all a long dot, and sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making someone regret hurting you, dot. It's building a life where their approval no longer matters.